2, 3, 4. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need, so I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need, yeah, yeah, yeah. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need, so I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need, God gives me everything I need, God gives me everything I need. That's it.
So just so you know, I've been watching
Bruno Mars videos, so
Let's
yeah.
see. Go ahead.
No, I'm not ready yet. But I'm just letting y'all know. I gotta get some slippery shoes first, so I might trip.
He is.
I got the hat though.
You seen him live?
Yeah, just need to shave off 40 years. All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Reverend Michael McMorrow. I'm the Senior Minister, Spiritual Director here at the Center for Spiritual Living. And you're in Granada Hills. I think we're all locals here, though, so you already knew that. So our presider this morning is Reverend Jessica Fish, so she'll be joining us on platform. And, of course, we have the band with Wayne Moore, our former music director. And we have all of you, so let's get underway. Just take a moment to say good morning and how you doing?
1, 2, 3, 4.
so let's get underway here. Get on up here, Rev. Let's all take a deeper... Oh, Mike is on mute.
Here we go. There's my God voice. All right, so let's all take a deep, conscious breath, allowing ourselves to use the breath to surrender to this eternal now moment, releasing any cares or concerns, any worldly clamors about the outer world, and just allowing ourselves to center right now as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. And fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Jessica lights the first candle, it's for the Tao. You know, I just turned 61 on Monday. I think it's already having an effect. Cancel. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the four noble truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center. And as Reverend Jessica lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Yes, just continuing in that agreement that there is only love. That we are sitting at the center and the circumference of all that is God, love, peace, joy, harmony. That there's absolutely no separation between us and God, that we live that one life of God. That there's never a moment when we're not living that one life of God. So we can just relax into that knowledge that there is only love, that this service, standing on the shoulders of the first service and the meditation, is birthed from that love. that I know that our live streamers are surrounded in that love and united with us here in that love. And I know that all of the people in the audiovisual booth training and doing the deed are blessed. Yes. I know our children's church in the back, they are blessed. How lovely it is for these young people to know what we know now, that there is only God and they are living God's life. I bless these musicians. How beautiful it is to have a saxophone in the morning, to hear God's word sung to us. I know that Reverend Mike McMorrow is blessed as he steps up to speak God's word falling on God's ears, that this is a co-creative experience where we all are in agreement in God, relaxed into God. I am so very grateful for this spiritual community of love here in Granada Hills. So we can just allow this service to unfold exactly the way it should, in love, loving, just allowing God to be in this service as it always is. So we can affirm that by saying, and so it is. Amen. So this talk came out of a Facebook post that I posted about the perversion of new thought into prosperity gospel, where the prosperity gospel or the law of attraction is misinterpreted as, see, I got prosperous because I can think better than you can, which infers that people who don't have it good are bad people, or they don't know how to think right. So there was lots of comments on this post about why do bad things happen to good people, but the biggest quandary was why people don't feel supported, don't feel comfort in a spiritual community like this, a new thought community. So a couple of weeks ago, I did tell on myself that I was feeling that way. I was not feeling very positive about my life, even though I've been in this philosophy for well over 20 years. And I recollected how Reverend Dr. Maureen's class that just finished up really helped me focus on loving myself, that was where I needed to start. New Thought does have the how-to change your thinking, change your life. So let's review that. Ernest Holmes states that positive and negative thinking are merely two ways of using the same mind through the power of self-choice. Positive thinking is direct and affirmative, sure of itself and moving straight towards its objective. But all that doesn't really address why horrific things happen and how to have positive thoughts when the conditions are horrific. So to help me, I went to someone who experienced horrific conditions positively, and that's Viktor Frankl. He lived in the horrors of the concentration camps. And he talks about that the way he got through it was knowing that everything can be taken away from someone except for one thing, the last of the human freedoms. And that freedom is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way. That's what Ernest Holmes was talking about, self-choice. We choose positive thinking. But does that how-to from this profound experience give one comfort? So recently I read Flourish, which is a visionary new understanding of happiness and well-being by Martin Seligman. He talks about how the practice of psychology began to relieve human suffering, focusing on relieving those suffering symptoms. He talks about the evolution of the practice going to positive psychology, which focuses on what it is that allows you to flourish. And he references study after study after study, which proves that happiness turns out to be more contagious than depression. And when there's a focus on what makes one flourish, positive goals will occur. But that still doesn't answer the question why people don't feel comforted with all this impressive how to change your life information. Well, I really can't address why other people don't feel comforted, but I know why or when I don't feel comforted. It's in those times I don't feel loved. I feel separate from that which I know, that God is all there is, that I am living God's life. So it's not bad, it's not wrong that I don't feel loved or that anyone else doesn't feel loved, and that's why they're feeling like all these why is God doing all these bad things to me? But what I did was to use these tools of how to change my thought from negative to positive. And as Ernest Holmes says, love points the way. I have to focus on self-love. So I invite you to say yes to more positive emotions. Say yes to better relationships. Say yes to having more meaning in our lives. Say yes to more well-being. And I know we can all say yes to love. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. Please welcome David Olivas on the keys back here and saxophone. Right, David. Filling in at the last minute, I really appreciate it. My friend Mr. Jordan Richards on bass. And today we have a very special guest. He was the musical director here for 16 years, if you do not know that. Now you do. Also, I got to tell you now, Wayne made a new CD. It's beautiful, and he has one of his other ones too, and he will be at the table outside, so please support him in that. I would very much appreciate it. And please welcome the one and only Mr. Wayne Moore.
Good morning. There's an old Chinese curse that says, "May you live in interesting times." We certainly do. We have fires, we have hurricanes, we have warmongers, we have politics. I'm going to do two of my own songs for you today, and I chose this one because of all that. 2, 3, 4. This teaching isn't easy. It's hard to believe when the deck is stacked against you and there's nothing up your sleeve. When your checkbook's nearly empty and you're filled with despair, it's difficult to keep in mind that Spirit's always there. But keep the faith, come what may. Remember what you've learned, no matter what gets in your way. You feel adrift, you feel dismay, but trust the love within you every day and keep the faith. It's easier to doubt it than it is to decide to embrace the joy of living and the power you have inside. You're wandering in the wilderness where disappointment lurks. But remember, the best proof this teaching works is when it works. So keep the faith, do your part. Don't buy into appearances. Believe what's in your heart, and why give up before you start? You're wise and you are strong and you are smart. So keep the faith. Just believe in all you do, and God takes care of you. So keep the faith and stay true. Though times are tough You always have the means to make it through. The best of life will come to you. Just see the love in everything you do and keep the faith. Thank you.
Wayne and I did not discuss the song when I was doing my thought. Thank you. Whoa. All right, so I'm going to be doing announcements. I don't see Andrea, right? Okay. So we may be a small community in numbers, but we have an outreach of love that is tremendous. And there's so many ways you can feel loved up here. One of the ways is the Sangha in September. It begins September 13th, Wednesdays, 9:30 a.m. to 12 noon. It's a six-week study, and the book is required. Does it say what the book is? No, maybe. Okay. When things fall apart. There you go. All right. One of the ways that you can feel the love is to be of service. And one of the things that we're doing is feeding the homeless on Skid Row through Dorothy Day. And the upcoming dates, I believe they're in your program, but they're right there too. Tuesday, September 19th, leaving here at 6, Thursday, October 19th, Saturday, November 18th. So please join us for that. We do have a mindfulness 8-week plan for finding peace in a frantic world workshop. The orientation for this is Monday, September 18th, 7 to 8 p.m. And the course will be held for 8 weeks. And it is Mondays, 7 p.m. to 8:30 through November 13th. And the information is right up there. Every Sunday we have what we call a miracle minute with a practitioner. It's affirmative prayer treatment. Please feel free to take advantage of that. Let's see. Today we have a practitioners meeting at 12:30 for all the practitioners who are here in the house. These are the people who support us. They're the first line of love that you can have here at the center. Wednesday, September 6th, there's a healing meditation service. For those of you who were used to coming to the class with Dr. Marine, please feel free to keep coming. Saturday, September 9th is Course in Miracles, and also on that day at 1 p.m. is Reverend Kathy Lyons' Animal Kinship meeting. All the ongoing events are listed in your program, and that's where you'll see the current signups for all the September stuff. All right, so next we get to do our affirmations, right? Yes, thank you. I'm used to a board member doing the announcements. So I want you to all stand. All right, let's affirm this, feeling that love. We believe in one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon the law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all. Stay standing, we're going to sing. Yeah.
I am open. soul is ready to receive. I'm opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening. My mind is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening. My soul is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. My mind is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening. My soul is ready to receive.
So let's just sit in that energy for just a little bit. That we are opening and just bringing to mind our brothers and sisters who are out on the fire lines right now. That's how they're spending their Labor Day. And for our friends back in Texas, for those dealing and living under duress of the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, and those in Louisiana as well, that we think about the folks out there as well, the first responders, the police and fire, the Cajun Navy, the victims themselves, Reverend Dr. Jesse James in CSL Houston, a former staff minister here in Granada Hills, John Canizano and his wife, and my longtime friend Gretchen Nero. So that we just know for all of them that right now the power and presence of the divine is in the mix some kind of way. That we know that within every struggle and in every obstacle is an opportunity for the next man up, the next person to stand up in consciousness and support our brothers and sisters, whether we are sending our treasure back to support folks or opening our homes here locally. That we know that this power and presence is supporting the responders and the victims of these various calamities in this moment. That we know that they are lifted in grace, that they are empowered and connecting with powers and juices they didn't even know were available up until right now. And they step into their highest good from moment to moment until they have at last demonstrated a full and complete healing and recovery around this situation. Again, whether it's Texas or Bangladesh, here at home, or even the maniac out in North Korea, that we know with all of it that the power and presence in some crazy way is in and through all of it. And we just call that forth now. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So, the talk title today, The Divine Business of God. And as we have been discussing throughout the last couple of years, we are working with the common themes throughout Centers for Spiritual Living. worldwide. And so worldwide, we are focusing on this idea of the spiritual value of love as community service. And so their little blurb is, we dedicate our time, talent, treasure, and expertise to the healthy and joyful evolution of our spiritual community, the community in which we live, and the greater community of the world. So this is from Centers for Spiritual Living, the home office, right? That's from that effort. Ministers get together and they conjure these things. But I do have a slide of some of our firefighters. So just keep them in mind here as we go through this stuff. So that was a long version, or as our spiritual leader, Dr. Ken Gordon, simply puts it, hearts of service. Hearts of service, which I think is like the slogan or something for the Girl Scouts. Any Girl Scouts here? Hearts of service, is that right? No Girl Scouts? It's not. Well, it is today. So in New Jersey, they have a program called Hearts of Service. I found it on the internet. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. So, and as many of you know, this is to cool you off. Do you feel refreshed right now? So keep that in mind when you're feeling like all hot and bothered today. Just think of this image, right? Can you smell the ocean? Yeah. And the wind? And this is in Ireland. So this is on the northwest coast of Mayo along the Wild Atlantic Way. That's what they call this road, the Wild Atlantic Way. And just know that right behind you, as you're looking at this photo, there's an Irish pub where you can have a nice pint. Yes. Anyway, it's a beautiful spot. So all of these themes and these talk notes are prepared for by ministers throughout the movement. And so this week's featured minister is, oh, well, look at that. It's Reverend Michael McMorrow. Yeah. And my 12-year-old photograph. So here's a newer one. Yes, this is a successful author photo for the as yet unwritten book. It looks official, though, doesn't it? Judy Mullen took that. It's like, yeah, that's like a believe me photograph. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the Wild Atlantic Way. All right. So today's talk title from Centers for Spiritual Living was actually entitled, It's All About Me, which I thought that was kind of odd. It's all about me, because it's Labor Day weekend, right? And I used to be a laborer. I like honoring. I like having one day of the year where we honor people. Imagine your life without your auto mechanic, or your gardener, or your carpenter or plumber, or your nurse or teacher, right? Police, fire, all right? Or the person who fills your Amazon order. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and I wanted to, my focus then is on the idea that we live and that our life is the divine business of God, where we shall explore my intention here today to honor Labor Day and workers everywhere, and also to explore how the Science of Mind teaching works in our working life by exploring how many aspects of our lives are about service, whether on the job or in the home. So certainly parents who still have kids at home know about this, right? And we are serving someone, right? So as Bob Dylan said, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. Serve somebody. You're going to have to serve somebody. Serve somebody. I love that song. Both parts. You like that? Serve somebody. Well, I was off key. All right. So, now this is You're going to have to serve somebody. Now, this is potentially really great news when we bring the power of awareness and consciousness to this idea. Because this is not about servitude. Service is not about servitude. Right? But rather it's about freedom. So it's not about this. Right? We don't have to bring us, we don't have to go through life with a sledgehammer, dragging about that old ball and chain. And yet many of us have lived lives like this before we came to this teaching, yes? Right? So it's been, running, waking up. I heard this last night. You wake up. You run out the door. Try maybe with a cup of coffee or not. You get on the freeway. You're zigzagging here and there, trying to get, and you're hitting every stoplight, and you're just an anxious mess. You run into the job. You do your job, and you're angry, and you're frustrated, and you're having to deal with all these morons in your office. And then you get back in the car, and it's back into the freeway, and then you slide in at home to have a cold beer and CNN, and then you get to start the next day all over again. And many people live lives like this, or at least feel that they do. This is what Reverend Jessica and Ernest Holmes were talking about. We can choose another way. We can choose another way to experience our life. So, I guess in that way, ultimately, we are responsible for our own consciousness. Not for the conditions outside, although we do have a hand in those too. But we certainly can choose the way that we react to what's going on when? Right now. Our point of power is always when? Now. Not then. That was just a second ago. Right now. And not there, but right now. Because it's always right now. It's like a number line where 0 keeps moving over. Right? Right now. So I prefer to see my life as an expression of the divine business of God. The divine business of God. So as to Labor Day, this holiday has long been significant for me because I was one. 33 years out there in the hot sun swinging a hammer. Both as a tradesman and then later as a businessman before ministry. And although the teaching has always, I think, has traditionally drawn educated folks with a bent to contemplation, and that's educated either formally or just really well-read, right? You're still educated if you're well-read. All right, if you didn't finish that last year, it's time to get over it. You're well-read, you're educated, and bent to contemplation. But I think it is worth working people that I think the effect of this teaching can really be dramatic and have an exponential effect of good. Right? As people move from making 30 to 35K a year and increase, get an extra increase of $3,000 by putting these principles into effect and finding ways to invite good into their life. Now, that doesn't mean there's not some action involved. There will be action involved because we have to move out of the space that we're currently operating in into a new paradigm or a new vision, if you will, for what we want our life to be. So you know where some of the most dynamic and creative idea people are? Right across the street at O'Grady's. They're sitting on a bar stool right now talking about all the stuff they're going to do someday. And they'll never get off of that stool. I know, because I was one of them. But in the same way, our old thinking, our old ideas, the life we currently have is like us sitting on that bar stool. We got to get off of that and step out into the sunlight of the Spirit and be a full and complete participant in the law of life. This is the real promise of our teaching and why no one should be without it. So I don't have a problem. It'd be nice if Joel Osteen would give a little nod to New Thought. You know, it'd be nice if people would move off of this thing called prosperity gospel and scoffing at it. It'd be nice if people would just kind of get off this whole... Do you know there's people still talking about this as the occult teaching? Who even thinks about a cult anymore? It's 2017, man. That is so 1967. Right? Why is it such a miracle to think that your thinking affects and brings a demonstration of good into your life? Why is that magical thinking? Right? What is a guy raising from the dead? That's not magical. A guy walking on water is not magical thinking. Having the entire universe compressed into a thimble with the density and all the weight of the universe compressed into a thimble and then it explodes in a big bang. That's not magical thinking. Come on, man. Really, the story is, what do you want to believe? Here's the thing about religious science. It is saying the gift of faith is just that. It's a gift. I've tried to be agnostic. I have tried to take the red pill and go back to the way it used to be, like in the Matrix. You can't do it, man. Once your consciousness has expanded and you know that there's a power and presence at work in the life and you are playing with it in some kind of way, you've woken up, man. You can't go back. And in this way, then, we have to step away from old ideas like hell and damnation. We have to become responsible for our own life. Not because there's a cosmic gun held to our head with a threat of eternal damnation and some devil that's as powerful as God. Come on, man. That's what that teaching is saying. Watch out for the enemy. He's going to get you. He's going to put lust in your heart. Yeah. No, take responsibility for your own life, man. You know why you did that, what you did. There was no devil. Own it. And then heal it. Heal it. The power and presence, the infinite power and presence of the divine available to you and to me. There is a power for good in the universe available to everyone, including you, little sinner person. Including you. You who feels like you've been damned. There's a power available to you and you can use it. And use it consciously. Because here's the thing, you're already using it. Why not use it consciously? So we take time. You want to know what a new thought is? Here it is. We take time to contemplate the things about the universe and nature. The infinitude and the abundance that we give witness to in nature. The infinitude and abundance of all of it. And all of it that's contained within the universe and nature. And see that it is the handiwork of the Spirit bound by only the nature of its own being. That God is making everything by contemplating the thing that it's thinking about and then making stuff out of itself. That's some wild stuff. How is that out of integrity with a regular gospel? It's not. It's just an explanation. A powerful one. One says that you have to turn the cosmic tumblers in petition. If I just say this prayer the right way in a number enough times, then maybe I'll be blessed. Totally futurizing and leaving to chance in a very passive way the good of the universe. And yet, Jesus himself said, pray knowing that it's already done unto you as you believe, and gave a couple of examples even. So we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? Jesus is hip. There's a lot in Christianity to love. Talk about service, right? Religious science needs to step up in that area, folks. It just does. So that gal wasn't off. So, we take time to contemplate things like the universe and nature, the infinitude and abundance contained therein, see that it is the handiwork of spirit bound only by the nature of its own being, which is creative. And then the creature is a reflection of the Creator. All that spirit is in the large, each one of us is in the small. That the spirit uniquely individualized, as each one of us working as natural law, bound only by the nature of our own being, the three-dimensional being. That's the only thing that's holding it back, our stuff. And so to the extent that we become willing to be ruthless in an inventory, a personal inventory about the way we show up in the world, then we can bring the infinite power and presence to the game and shift the whole thing. Shift it. Now, is that going to look like lotto winnings? Well, your chances are good if you play, I suppose. You have, what is it, 350 million to 1 chances. But what I can guarantee for anyone who practices these principles, that your life will get better. And your bank balance may not change. You may not demonstrate the right and perfect sweetheart. Your car may still be going around with 1 square wheel. But you know what? You're living in grace, man. Because you know that round wheel is just around the corner. And I'm making a place for it right now. That I am ready right now to call this good forth to me for a round and perfect wheel with good tread to demonstrate itself. And you know what? That sounds silly, but I've seen stuff like that happen. But then what do you got to do? You got to change the tire. They're still in action. It's not magic, man. We're intuitively guided by the Spirit itself into taking the next indicated thing. There's a dude named Chuck C. says this. What is God's will? What is God's will? What is God's will for me as a religious scientist? You know what God's will is for you? Your will. Your will is God's will. God knows only to say yes. So what are you thinking about? That's really what it is. That's why it seems like we're blaming the victim. We're really not. And if you are, stop that. It's not helpful. It's an errant thought. It's an errant thought. Sin is not an offense against God, but an error in thought. So we choose differently. So first, I contemplate the nature of the divine, opening my thinking and my heart to, in the most inclusive ways of oneness and divine expression. And then I know that I am working with some mysterious cosmic law that is responding to my thought at the level of my belief. And Holmes says, so as a working person, this is the arena that I took Ernest Holmes to task when he said this, that we would better spend our time using the law than arguing over it. When we get into stuff about, prosperity gospel, that's all we're doing. Let's just stick to our own map. Let's just do the work that's in front of us to do within our own consciousness. And then prove it by what? Demonstrating it. So remember that song, They'll Know We Are Christians by Our Love? Right? Do you remember that? That's a song about demonstration. A song about demonstration, regardless of what's going on. First century Christian communities, they looked a lot more like socialists and communists, except, of course, they believed in Jesus. But they pulled all of their resources. Now, that's an interesting thing when you consider such things as capitalism and so forth. But that's another talk for another day. So the beginning student, will often prove the law with, guitars and Cadillacs and hillbilly music and prosperity in all its forms, which is fine as far as it goes. But then we have that big holy God and all the Buddhist saints kind of demonstration where there's a deeper realization of the infinite power and presence that blows our belief right into the next dimension, baby. Right? And the way that it happens is because we are consciously using the law and leaving nothing to chance. You understand that? So whether we are longtime students of the teaching or this is our very first day, if we are not doing our treatment work, we're shortchanging ourselves. Right? It is the ultimate arrow in the quiver, if you will. And when it comes to our life, if we're not using spiritual mind treatment and living life through awareness in consciousness and being awake in our life, then we really are playing nickel penny poker in $1 million game. The potential is there. There's a power for good in the universe available to everyone. Not only the young guys under 30, not only the people who have a PhD, not only the people who can compose music like Wayne Moore, right? Not only the ones who are slim and fit and a perfect size 4. Everyone. Available to everyone. That means that the power and presence is available to you and to me regardless of what we think about that. That's good news, man. That's what I think. So one of the easiest ways that we can do that is to get into service. So when I first came here, I didn't have much money. Well, I did have money, but I didn't tell you that because, churches always want money. So I was a consistent, resentful $10 a week giver. But I gave of my time, and I gave of my talent, because I came from another program that stresses service as part of staying on the straight and narrow. And then I took a few classes. I took a class like the energy of money. Do you know these people have been tithing 10% of their income for 8 weeks? So you see those, I want you to go out there after the service and look at all those beautiful vision boards that someone did. They did them for each other after an interview. A gift, yes? Talent and treasure, or talent and time, here you go. Tied to each other. And I took one of those classes. Tithing, I was making $50K a year, right? $1,000 a week. And that meant I had to write a check for $100 for that week. $100. $100. And that first week, it was so hard to write that check, and then I had to write 11 more of them. And you know what? For me, the whole thing changed. The whole thing changed because I really got to see. Now I'm not just doing time and talent. The treasure was the last bastion. And I gave it here because they really needed it. And I loved the people here. And I was so grateful to have this place to come to when I needed it. Lucia was here when I needed it. Reverend Nancy was here. And John Sparks and Gretchen and Sue Scheid were here when I needed it. Because I was not the bastion of consciousness that you see before you today in those days. And I think all of us have a similar story like that. So it's good that we give in these areas as we do. But when we start doing the whole thing, then we're cooking with gas, baby, because now we are working with the law of circulation, the law of reciprocity. And our good cannot help but find its way to our door. Now that doesn't mean that stuff doesn't get real, right? Sometimes it gets real. But what I know for me is that regardless of what's going on today, my good is on the way. That's what I know. So, I'm talking way too long. Let's call up the band, and we're going to take a deep breath while they do that. I had a much better talk up here, but you didn't get that one today, so come back next week. I promise I'll stick to my notes. So let's just think about Labor Day, shall we? Whether we're retired, whether we're in our first job, whether we're in high school, whether we're a returning student in college or taking a class online to learn something new, whether we have a multi-level business or a going concern that we've been working at for years, whether we're a carpenter who's been swinging a hammer for 10 years thinking about getting my license someday, or whether I'm at the top of my profession, there's work to be done. So let's take the day today to keep holy the Sabbath, to take time to connect with the infinitude of the Spirit. And what does that mean for me? When I think about the power and presence of the Holy Spirit activating my mind right now, what does that mean? Activating my body temple right now. Activating every cell, every molecule, every sinew, every muscle, every bone of my body right now. Activated. I go through my day today doing this in a conscious way, opening up my mind and my heart to allow the Spirit to say, yo, this is me. You are my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. This is what I have for you today. Make your bed. Cut the grass. Chop wood. Carry water. And take that into our work week. And let's check in with each other next week and see what's up.
2, 3, 4. From the seas of the earth to the mountains of the moon, toward Ganymede of Jupiter and its eternal noon, past the rings of Saturn to the stars that lie behind, there is one spirit ever intertwined. Outbound across the galaxy to the edge of infinity, you'll find the diversity of the handiwork of God. From a tall, majestic pine tree to the smallest living thing, from an earthbound armadillo to a lark upon the wing, from everyone you've ever met to everyone you will, a single light shines within them still. Outbound across the galaxy to the edge of infinity, you'll find the diversity of the handiwork of God. What kind of magic is at work here? How came this synchronicity? What kind of power and of glory could there be in me? a single grain of sand to a strange and distant shore, to a star out in the Milky Way, and then go even more. For no matter where we travel, in distance or in time, we have no doubt we know what we will find. Outbound across the galaxy, to the edge of infinity, you'll find the diversity of the handiwork of God. Outbound across the galaxy, to the edge of infinity, you'll find the diversity of the handiwork of God. Of God. Woo! Thank you.
Nice job. Let's give them some more love, huh? That's an original. Both those songs were originals today. That's a good song, huh? Yeah, I love that. I mean, can't you? Outbound, yeah. That's what I'm doing today. I'm going outbound. Yeah. So I did want to mention two more things before we go into the offering. So next, some of you know Barbara Harrison, and some of you may not know her yet. Next Sunday is her last Sunday here in Granada Hills, as she's moving to Texas, but not outside of the danger zone, to McKinney. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to have a cake for her, and so next week after the service, if you can be here, so we can give her a nice little send off, that would be great. Also, I forgot to mention, because I got off into the weeds. We are going to have sign-up sheets put out for if you want to be of service in some way to the center. You'll have many ways to choose to do that. They're going to be up all month. So brain kick in. Margie Robbins. Holy cow. So Margie, raise your hand. Margie has volunteered to be our SEVA coordinator, and so we're going to get you set up out there with the table, and you can come and chat with her. And so, the answer is always? Yes. Yeah. So always, Grayton? Yes. Small. All right? You don't have to run the whole church. All right? You don't even have to run it every Sunday. That's my job. You just need a little piece. If we all take a little piece, this place will be fun. All right, let's do the offering.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through me. Spirit receives through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Oh, Spirit lives and breathes through me.
That's a nice. All right, so just going within just for a wee moment longer and recognizing and knowing that the gifts presented here this morning are a demonstration of consciousness, a demonstration of the law of circulation, the law of reciprocity by means of the generous heart of these gifts demonstrated here this morning. So we, representing the heart of this community, accept these gifts with deep appreciation, love, and respect, as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless. The intention of each person here today and the vision and mission of this Center for Spiritual Living, and anyone connected to it in any way, that we extend this blessing and knowing to our friends in this community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, all the county of Los Angeles, all of its firefighters, first responders, all those folks working their heinies off to keep us safe today until the job is done. Our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, for our planet as well, that we know that all of it is an emanation for the very mind of spirit itself. Man, that's a mind blower if you think about it. Yeah. And to the extent that we know that this is so, we see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. This lifts our hearts. We feel a sense of grace, and we raise and lift others along with us. We are grateful. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank lovely Rita, usher maid, and Miss Chloe. If you need your cards read after the service. That's an old one, I guess. No one remembers Miss Chloe? Oh, man, yeah, I have your card right here. Oh, Miss Chloe, he done me wrong. Oh, girl, you don't remember that? No. I guess y'all went to bed earlier than I did. Okay, so how we doing, kids? Yeah, oh, here's some more. Good. Power level. So how's school going? Everybody back in school now? Yeah, all right, cool. So who's our spokesperson today?
Neither one of them want to be. They're being shy.
Ben, shy. Hey, dude, I saw you score that goal.
Yeah.
I saw you on YouTube.
Yeah.
Pretty nice goal.
You want to stand up and I'll start?
You'll
tell me.
I'll let you, here, let me tell him. So this guy, it was a penalty shot, right? And the goalie's like this, and he came up to the ball, and he was kind of doing a little sidestep. I saw you. A little sidestep, and then he hit it and had just enough curl and bang right into the left corner. Okay.
Okay, so...
Do you feel better now?
Kind of.
That was right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we did an experiment how water is all the people and the ripples are like stuff that you do to help. And we dropped like a rock, a toothpick, and I don't know what it's called. It's pipe cleaner into. And like this is a big thing that the toothpick is a medium thing, and the pipe cleaner is a small thing, and each of them actually helped. So small things can help do big things.
Small things can help do the big things.
Yes, and we also did an observance thing where I had this tray out on the table for the whole class, and they didn't really look at it until I took it away and covered it and asked them what was on it. And they sort of told some of the things, and some of the things that Ben was trying to play with. But the whole idea was that they need to be observant in their community about ways that they can help. So it was really important to look and see what there was.
Very nice. And did you measure the specific gravity of each item, or no? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Hi.
So we did some finger knitting, and we applied basically when you put patience and energy out, you get a reward.
Nice.
Nicely done.
Nice lessons today. We should have went back there, huh? Then I wouldn't have gone over.
Here's a bracelet, and here's a necklace.
Very nice. Thank you. All right. So, thank you, parents, for bringing your kids. I remember it's not so easy to get them here some Sundays. Appreciate it that you do that. Thank you for our teachers. Thank you for Mike in the back. Thank you for the band with Wayne Moore. So if I can get our practitioners and ministers to circle the room, Reverend Jessica is going to pray us out, and it's over.
All right. So I want you to look at all these practitioners. We can't make you feel loved, but we do know the truth that you are loved eternally and unconditionally. So I invite you to visit them for that 1-minute miracle after service. But as we just relax, basking, marinating in this love that we have so brilliantly become conscious of in this service, this love that always is, regardless if we're conscious of it or not, this love that we are always, always coming from, living this life of love, living this life of God. I am so very grateful to be a part of this loving community where I can lean into it when I don't feel like I maybe am not loved, where I feel separate. Because we are not separate. We are one, living that life of God. So just relaxing into it, allowing it, not struggling, releasing the struggle, and just being ourselves. We go forth this week blessed with this knowledge, blessed with this huge consciousness, this infinite resource that we have that has our back and our front. So I just release this in gratitude, allowing it to be. And we can affirm by saying, and so it is. Amen.
Everyone stand for the peace song. 1, 2, 3.